Yuvi, I'm really interested in looking back through time to try and trace some of the origins of mediation and see where it's come from. And I'm curious to know from you if you could give us a little insight into mediation in the early pre-Vedic age in India and why that was important.
It would be my pleasure, Alan. You would be amazed to know that India, as a country and as a civilization, uh, we've been following mediation for times immemorial. One of the very early concepts in India about the Vedas, the Yajurved, Samved, Atharvaved, and the Rigved, uh, there has been a mention of Rishi Angiras, or Rishi Angira, as some people call it. He was one of the first rishis to be called as a mediator between gods and the men. So you can imagine how enhanced were the thought processes during early Vedic times. And I'm not talking about a bit about history or medieval age. This is mythological age. Can you imagine millions and millions of years ago? And Indians since then have been imbibing the concept of mediation. Rishi Angiras, when there was a fight between gods and human beings, played the role of mediator because if the wrath of the gods, the creator of the universe we call Lord Brahma, so if the wrath of the Lord Brahma was to fall down on humans, there would have been no earth. That's what it is in Hindu mythology. And he ensured that not just the people on the earth could survive, but they could survive peacefully for many, many billions of years ahead. And one another important thing that I must tell you here is in the Mundaka Upanishad, Rishi Angiras, he has written a lot of it, and he is also given the credit for creating the abode of Lord Shiva in the Himalayas. So you can imagine how much Indians are ingrained with the feeling of mediation or alternative dispute resolution, but still we are being called as the most litigious country in the world.
That's fascinating, UV, because I think in the Bible they talk about mediation, right?
Oh, I was absolutely about to come to that, Alit. Thank you for guiding me in that direction. Uh, Jesus Christ, in Sermon on the Mount, he says, do not judge. And also, it has been, the Bible says, the blessed are the peacemakers. They shall be called the children of God. And let me connect this with another Hindu mythological anecdote here. I draw your attention to an epic in the Indian mythology, which is the Mahabharata. In the Mahabharata, it is said that two factions were fighting and both were brothers. So there was Kauravas on one hand, who were 100 in number, and then there were Pandavas, who were 5 in number. And can you imagine 100 people going to fight against 5? What's going to happen? I'm 100% sure you're going to say, all right, the 100 people have power on their side. They have, you know, immense amount of muscle strength. So there's a, a very interesting person that comes up, or God, as in the mythology, it is said, Lord Krishna. He comes up and he plays the peacemaker with the Kauravas and Pandavas on each side. Now, there are councils for the Kauravas, there are councils for the Pandavas, and each one says, listen, peace is the best policy. Lord Krishna tries his best to play the peacemaker. But because the Kauravas were so confident about their strength and to uproot the Pandavas, they went to war and they did not pay heed to Lord Krishna's mediation. So even in Indian mythology, if you were to come a little ahead from the Vedas, even the Mahabharata, which is the biggest epic in Indian mythology, it says it tells you the importance of mediation, of knowing why destruction will occur if you do not resolve conflicts peacefully.
That's fascinating. Tell me what happened in the end.
So in the end, the Pandavas won the war. And the 5 people against 100, with help from obviously from Lord Krishna in various forms, but there was destruction all around, absolute carnage. And this carnage, this destruction could have been avoided had the Kauravas been sensibly counseled and had they heard Lord Krishna's mediation pleas when he was nudging them in the right direction. Lord Krishna, I wouldn't go into the detail on the very interesting exchange here, but there's a very interesting thing to learn about Lord Krishna as a mediator. One, he came across as being impartial. Two, he not only put his side of the story in explaining the people what the conflict is about, but he also gave each side a fair hearing. And after both the parties were understanding the situation, he told each party about the repercussion as to what is going to happen if both the factions of brothers were to go at war. And it was absolute carnage, absolute carnage. And the good part is when the 5 brothers, the Pandavas, won the war, they said, after looking at all the destruction, that they never wanted the entire piece of land. All that they were claiming was whatever was genuinely theirs. They just wanted a piece of land where they could stay, survive, and lead a peaceful life. So that's the importance of mediation taught by the mythology in India.